Hello, I'm Joe Davidson and welcome to our ranch here in Oklahoma. Did you know that Grill Camp is the most innovative and fun team building experience in the United States today? But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started Oklahoma Joe's over 25 years ago. Since that time, I've designed and sold over 3 million smokers and grills. Not to mention, I can't tell you how many tons of barbecue we've cooked at Oklahoma Joe's. It's the #1 Zagat rated barbecue joint in Kansas City. You might be wondering how I got into barbecue. Well, when I started Oklahoma Joe's, the barbecue bug bit me bad. I did my first competition, and since that time, I've competed at hundreds and hundreds of events. I've been fortunate enough to win cook-offs like the Jack Daniel's World Championship, the American Royal, the World Pork Barber Colossal, and even Memphis in May. But I can tell you, one of the secrets to my success has been the sauce and the spice. Those have won Best Sauce and Spice on the planet 7 times. Now that you know a little bit about me, let me tell you about Grill Camp. You're going to participate in an activity that will challenge you on every level. During this experience, you, along with other team members, will strategize, communicate, reach group goals. You'll take on personal responsibility, employ creativity, and just have fun. Communication is key. Your team will have to select roles, develop goals, manage your time down to the minute while creating a presentation that will impress and wow the judges. Additionally, you will take personal responsibility. Everyone on the team has a job that is directly related to everyone else's job and your ultimate success. Creativity is key to your success. This experience requires cooperation and camaraderie as team members take risks when sharing ideas and building on the ideas of others. Most of all, Joe Davidson's Grill Camp is fun. Your creative side will be challenged. You'll engage in friendly competition with colleagues, and when it's all said and done, you get to eat the best barbecue you've ever tasted. So let's get started. First things first, you're going to be assigned to a team. Every team has a team space and a team number. So now it's time to go join your other team members at your tent and get ready to get to cooking and have some fun. Now it's time to name your team. Be creative, have some fun. I've used the name of the Hogamaniacs before. Another good team name is Beer Bait and Barbecue. Another is 4 Pigs and a Princess. Just have fun and name your team something that someone's gonna really remember. There's a marker on your table, just write your team name on your sign. Okay, now that you've named your team, it's time to decide on your individual roles. The first one, it's the Sultan of Sauce. This is the head honcho. You're going to orchestrate your team and direct them on to victory. The next very important role is the Keeper of the Flame. Your job is to keep that grill at precisely the perfect cooking temperature throughout the competition. Let me tell you, the next one is the most important role when it comes to appearance. That's the Guru of Garnish. More world championships are won doing the perfect garnish on a plate than any other thing. That way, your plate already looks perfect and looks like it's going to taste great even before they taste it. So Guru of Garnish, do your thing. The next job is Master of the Grill. Your job is critical to make sure you flip that burger, that tenderloin, anything you're cooking at precisely the right time, getting the perfect sear marks on it, and you want to make sure and use your internal meat thermometer to make sure your meats or your vegetables are at the perfect temperature before you pull them off. Oh, the next job, Sensei of Spices. Your job is to make certain that you've got the perfect blend of dry rubs and marinades to put on your food before you cook it and during the cooking process. So Sensei of Spices, be honorable and do the right thing. The next job role is Baron Von Barbecue, a very prestigious position. You will be a barbecue judge. You'll come to a judging school. After that, be able to go share a few of your secrets with your other team members before judging the best barbecue in the world. You know, a lot of times people are always asking me, what's the secret to great barbecue, Joe? Well, really, there's only a few real secrets to great barbecue. First of all, you've got to start out with great meats. I'd recommend you get to know your butcher really well so he can make certain that he's sending you home with the best meat possible to barbecue. The next thing is using the right spices. And when you're talking about dry rubs or spices that you blend yourself, it's not just that, it's also the wood you cook with. So spices, dry rubs, and woods will greatly influence how good your barbecue is and its taste profile. The last thing really is two components together. That's time and temperature. If something's already tender before you ever cook it fast. That way it won't dry out. But if it's a tough cut like a brisket or a pork butt, go ahead and extend the cooking time, cooking at lower temperatures, and where that meat is super tender before you ever pull it off the grill. A critical piece of the competition barbecue is the farmer's market. The guru of garnish goes to the farmer's market and chooses the supplies you'll need for the cooking process and the turn-in process at grill camp. Take your grocery bag. You'll also be provided with a Joe Davidson's Grill Camp ice chest to keep your entries cool. Okay, now that you know all the layout as far as your roles, responsibility, named your team, it's time to fire up the grill. When you want to do this, always keep in mind that you've got hot surfaces. The lid's going to be hot. Even the cooking grate's going to be very hot as well. To ignite the grill, all you've got to do is open the lid, turn your knob to the start position, push the piezo igniter a couple of times. Typically takes 2 or 3 times to get it going, and that's all there is to it. If you want to lift the grate, put a pouch of wood chips in there. Make sure and use your leather gloves to do that. Okay, you might be wondering, how do I put smoke into the cooking environment of a gas grill? It's so easy to do that. All you gotta do is add some wood chips into a piece of foil, like this. You're making a foil pouch with wood chips in it. Fold it up, fold it over again, back over, then flip this and poke a few holes in it, not too many. Now, what you want to do is lift your cooking grate, make sure your gas grill's off, lift that up, put this pouch where it's literally laying over your burner tube where the flame's at, and then lower this back down. And that's all there is to turning your gas grill into a real smoker, adding smoke into your cooking environment there. All right, one of the other things I want to caution you about, at any grill camp, you're going to be handling knives, and they're sharp. So a little tip on knife safety. Number 1 is that you're going to be provided with a chef's knife and a paring knife. When it comes time to using the big knife, always work off the point. In other words, don't try and chop down like this. Always work off the tip. Hold your fingers back away from it and squared down. Don't ever lay them out flat because it's easier to take a tip off of them. So work off the tip of it and rock downward. And then slide over, rock downward. Slide over, rock downward. When it comes to a paring knife, again, make sure you keep your fingers back and then be cutting that away. Just make sure to not cut yourself. If you do happen to cut yourself, all you've got to do then is notify your host and they'll make sure and get you a Band-Aid. Okay, now that you know about knife safety, it's time to talk about food handling safety as well. One of the things you always want to keep in mind, When things are not cooked, you want to keep them iced down. Keep them at 40 degrees or below. Once it's cooked, it's always better to keep it at 140 degrees or above. Now, when it comes to handling raw meats, we've got disposable cutting boards for you. Once you've laid raw meats on that, it's okay to turn it over, use the back side of it. But I'm going to tell you right now, don't ever place cooked meats on the same cutting board that you've had raw meats on. Throw this away, get another one. When it comes to handling these, we're going to be providing you with latex or nitrox gloves as well. So make sure and wear those when you're handling raw foods, then throw them away. You put a new pair on before you go on to handling cooked foods. Just always keep that in mind. And also look at the back of your team sign. It's going to give you all these safety tips on your team sign, as well as what temperatures meats should be cooked to as well. All right, now it's time to talk about turn-ins. You've been out there working. Typically, when you start a grill camp, you're gonna have about an hour from the time you get there and you name your team until the first turn-in's there. So make sure and use all your supplies. You've got the right sauces and spices. Your guru of garnish got the perfect level of ingredients you needed to have a successful grill camp. Now, let's use an example that your first turn-in was gonna be at 6 p.m. We have a 5-minute window before and 5-minute after. So there's a total of a 10-minute window in which you've got to turn that in. So 5 minutes till 6 until 5 minutes after 6, we will accept that turn in. And all the time, you gotta be planning on that second one, which is gonna be 30 minutes later at 6:30, and then the next one at 7. So you wanna make certain that you've strategized, built your timing, and where your food products are going to be coming off at the perfect time to garnish it and turn it in at the proper turn-ins. If you arrive late, you'll be DQ'd and won't be able to qualify for Grand Champion overall. All right, now it's time. You've turned in the last category, and you're wondering when are the awards going to be. Well, typically, they're about 30 minutes after your final turn-in. And one thing I want you to keep in mind is that the grand champion may not have won a single category as far as first place. It's the team that has the highest accumulated score in all the categories. So it's possible that you might have won first place in one, bombed in another, and you're not in the competition to be grand overall. So be steady and true, do a great job cooking all your categories to be in that competition for grand champion overall. Well, it's certainly been a pleasure to talk to you about grill camp today. I sure appreciate it, and I know you're going to have a great experience at your grill camp. I'm Joe Davidson, off to cook some more barbecue. See ya. For more information, you can visit us online at joedavidson.com.